Take me under your wing, crack of thunder, as a wild bird sing. You can hear hunger crying out, a sonic echo that leaves no room for doubt. All the shots bring it back to what it's not. Make a move, do we do? As the world cries tears in our hands, are we all part of a bigger plan? All the shots bring it back to what it's not. Deepest oceans, they can't portray enough empty spaces, time to rust and dust. There's no wonder left for us to love. No warmth or shelter, just satellites above. All the shots bring it back to what it's not. Make a move, do we do? As the world cries tears in our hands, are we all part of a bigger plan? All the shots bring it back to what it's not.
And he gets past all of them as well. What a move from the 48. Oh, look at this. And onto the straight they come.
Brilliant move there from number 40 to make it through. That left-hander sliding up the inside, going up now over Hawthorne Hill, down Pilgrim's Drop, and it's brilliant stuff here at Brands Hatch.
sun is setting, don't trust your hearing. You made a monster, I'm your imposter. Go ahead and wander, but don't trust the water. I'm the nightmare of the deep.
Second season of the World Sportscar Championship here live on RaceSpotTV. Just an hour and a half to go until we find out the names of the 4 champions for season 2 of our championship. All 4 championships are very much still up in the air. Last season, only one of them changed hands on the final day. That was in GT4AM. This time round, we've got scope for all 4 of them possibly to change hands by the end of the day. So it's going to be a lot of fun as we take to the bumps of Sebring. Not a circuit where you're going to see rises and falls in elevation by any means, but a circuit where you'll certainly see the bumps coming to fruition. This circuit having never been repaved, it makes it characterful around every corner. My name's Ewan O'Leary. I'm alongside Jack Stiles here once again for the 8th time this season. For round 8, you can't take your drop week in this final round, Jack. That means we're in for a barnstorming finale with all of the championship margins no bigger than 11 points coming into today.
So every point is going to count. Every position is going to count in this final 90 minutes of the second season of the World Sports Car Championship. Sebring International Raceway is the final round. And what a season it's been, Ewan. We've had some incredible races, incredible circuits as well, that have brought such different dynamics to the championship. But Sebring, it's such a brilliant place to end on, because one, you just don't know what's going to happen, but also it's a circuit that all of these drivers will know well. It gets used a lot on the iRacing service. Of course, the 12 hours of Sebring happening here every year as well at the end of March. So I think it's a circuit where we're going to see some good racing, but it's a circuit as well which is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen around here.
You certainly don't. We've been all over the world in this schedule, and it's brought us to this point. 8 points between Christophe Hermino and Nathan Moore. Now, there's more to that story that we'll tell you about once we've done with the standings. Matt Caruana and Adam State are also in mathematical contention, although they are a little bit further back. Julien Plumet is in 5th place, and he should finish there with 26 points over Leo Bonneman. Nikolai Loft, Mert Menderes, Callum Brandt and Matthias Penteler round out the top 10 in LMP3 Pro. In AM, Joost Boymeister has only 3 points over Mads Kjeldsen, who may be ruining that error later on at Mugello, but we'll wait and see on how the season pans out. Peter Herschel is still there, 13 points back. Matt Farquhar 19 back as the final driver in contention. Adam Locke, Adam Hedgecock and Nicholas Skeets are going to be fighting for 5th place today, as Dan Piazza and Nicholas Salaputis and Dylan Van Schot round out the top 10. In GT4 Pro, Timo Hayden has only 2 points over Adam Isaacson. Matt Loveridge, Cesar Engelsley and Thomas Marks Burgess are all covered by 21 points as well. Then there's a bit of a gap back to the rest. Alessandro Proti will try and hang on from Michael Pedersen and Emmanuel Gaxella today. They're tied on points. Richard Simner and Jamie Rouleau round out the top 10. And finally, the smallest of the championship battles actually, but 11 points between the top two in GT4 Am. Josh Boot is favourite tonight to take the title over Leaky McGee. Jack Wilkins, Evan Natafas and Jack Osborne are going to be fighting for third tonight. Lee Burridge and Paul King separated by just 3 points, with Rob Sutherland, Howard Hassan and Ben Hicks rounding out the top 10. And then the team standings, 1 point between WSR Esports, Bookkicker and Impulse Racing. Then Writer Engineering, Boots and VDS by Undercut still involved. So are Atomic, Ambassador Arts and Motorsport Esport. They're all involved, you would say, mathematically. DCW Racing, Walk Racing Esports, Wild Things Racing and RD Sinsport round out the top 10 there. We're going to have an absolute nightmare trying to figure out who's won the team standings by the end of the day, but we'll try and get that to you before the end of this broadcast. The reason why I mentioned there's a little bit more to this story here, Jack, than what I mentioned there in the qualifying session, or in the standings I should say, in the rundown, is the fact that Christophe Herbinot has been barred from qualifying tonight, leaving Nathan Moore to not only take the bonus point for pole position, bringing the gap down to 7 points, but also for him to get a huge head start on his biggest rival.
And Christophe Herbinot has a big challenge on his hands today to get himself back to the front. Of course, Nathan Moore, last time out, we saw run that masterful strategy that ran that whole race at Fuji and won pit stop, something we haven't seen all season. Unfortunately, the rule book was thrown at Nathan and he was excluded from the race due to the fact you have to make 2 pit stops. So his championship sort of disadvantage in his case has opened up another 2 points because he's had another drop score come in, and so luckily he had a good score that he could bring into his counted score and drop the 0 score from Fuji. So Nathan Moore, not as much impact as maybe I was expecting when I saw the penalties come out yesterday. Matt Caruana is there in second place as well in LMP3 Pro, and obviously there's more championship contenders in that fight. I think that's, this is going to be a really interesting fight in all of the classes because of how close it is. And of course that team championship where really we will not know until the end of the race and who has won the championship, because it's so unpredictable and so hard to calculate on the fly.
We'll do our best, but we'll see. By the way, I'm not sure if this is a record, but it must be for some sort of record somewhere. All 4 drivers in second in the championship have taken pole, so I don't know how that's even possible to quantify as a record, but I can't see that of having happened anywhere else in the world. But there you go. Second placed in the championship, Nathan Moore has closed the gap to 7 points, as we've already mentioned, to Christophe Herbinot by taking pole here ahead of Matt Caruana. Remy Fortin finishes that qualifying session third alongside Leo Bonneman, with Nikolai Lofton and Julien Plumet rounding out the top 6. All pro drivers to this point, by the way, including row 4, Mert Menderes and Callum Brandt, then Matthias Penteler, and then the first of the AM drivers. Second place in the championship, Matt Kjelsen brings the gap down to 2 points ahead or behind his main rival, Nicholas Skitz, alongside in second with Ben Gregory there, 10th in pro. Then you've got the championship leader in AM, Joost Boymeister, is in third place in that in the qualifying session, first in the championship. Adam Hedgecock, Michael Farquhar and Peter Herschel round out the LMP3 grid. Adam Isaacson's pole position has meant that it's whoever beats the other Adam himself and Timo Hayden. Isaacson starts ahead of Thomas Marks Burgess. Richard Simner and Tasha Anglesey are next ahead of Timo Hayden, who needs to finish ahead of Isaacson today. Leaky McGee, second in the AM Championship, brings that gap down to 10 points now, with pole position here. Behind him is Michael Pearson and Matt Loveridge, who are both pro drivers, so he's given himself a bit of a gap because Alessandro Proti and Adam Watson are in between them as well. Josh Boot with 4 drivers between himself and his nearest rival. Evan Natafas is third ahead of Jack Wilkins, the final of only 4 AM drivers today. Christophe Herbinot and Francois Perdrault are both AM drivers, both non-qualifiers. They're not both AM drivers, they're both non-qualifiers from today's racing. Only 4 GT4 AMs today, unfortunately, which means that even if Leaky McGee takes all the points he possibly can, he will not be able to overtake Josh Boot on points. He's got to hope that Josh Boot doesn't complete 50% of the race. Then he's got a chance. As we look at the track conditions from the air, it's early 30s in terms of the degrees, and it's only going to get cooler as we race into the night almost here at Sebring. It's not going to get pitch black by any means by 9 o'clock, I wouldn't have thought, but it will be pretty much dusk, I would imagine, when this race finishes.
It will, and I think that's going to be an interesting dynamic for the drivers. Of course, we haven't really had this into the sort of dusk into the night racing so far, and I feel like it's a very fitting way of doing the final round, Jim. And, you know, the sun is setting. It's setting on what has been an incredible championship so far. Of course, 90 minutes of racing ahead of us. It's a shame the GT4 AM field is a bit smaller than we've seen earlier on in the season. You know, that's taken away that championship fight a little bit, which is, to be honest, a massive shame. So I think Lee King McGee is going to be keeping every finger crossed in that Mercedes to hope that Josh Boot hit issues. But as you say, I think Josh Boot now very much the favourite in that championship before the green flag has even fallen.
Very good afternoon to everyone who's tuned in on YouTube here once again tonight. Jack Osborne tuning in, wishing everybody good luck, saying that he's far too sick to race, but he's supporting Josh Boot to bring home the title. So get well soon to Jack Osborne. Hopefully we'll see him back in a car on RaceSpotTV in some time in the near future. 31 cars on the grid here tonight, and we've not spoken too much about the circuit. Very bumpy round here, of course, not very wide by any means, but it is used to having multi-class racing, and these guys will likely be used to driving this circuit in a multi-class environment as well. So I wonder just how much difficulty these guys are going to have in terms of making their way through a fairly sizable bit of slower traffic here today. 14 GT4s for the slightly more numerous LMP3 field.
Yeah, I think the LMP3 field at Sebring is a circuit, I think, with drivers where traffic is maybe not so much of an issue. There's a few corners they're going to have to be careful of, you know, a couple of choke points as well throughout the lap. But I would like to think that a lot of drivers, because of how much this circuit gets used, especially for multi-class racing, there's a fair amount of experience on the grid where people will know where the passing places are and where the passing places aren't. Turn 1 is going to be a tricky one, obviously a very wide entrance. You need to make sure you're not going to have an LMP3 diving up your inside if you're in the GT4 category. But that first lap, I think the first lap and the first pass through traffic here is going to be crucial, because if you can make time there, that's going to help you through the next 80 minutes or so in the race.
That certainly is, as we round the final chicane now for the first time here on this formation up. And there's a look at Sunset Bend, by the way, and you can see where it gets its name from. Can't really see where you're going on the way down here. One of those corners where there's a million lines on the way through, but only a few of them that are the right line. It's going to be important here for Nathan Moore to get off to a very good start. He's got to push home this advantage that he's got by Christophe Herbigno starting at the back.
Yeah, Christophe Herbigno, obviously he is only at the back of the LMP3 field, which maybe takes the blow off a little bit, doesn't have to find his way through the GT3 traffic. You can just see him on the right hand side of your screens as they head into sunset towards the green flag. So Christophe Herbigno, these opening 5 laps are going to be crucial to get himself clear through the AM field and start making his way through the pros.
And then enticing 90 minutes ahead of us in the finale of the World Sports Car Championship for Season 2. It's 90 minutes of racing at Sebring, ready to settle the title. Where we opened out Season 1, we'll end Season 2 with Nathan Moore getting us underway from the front of the field. He waits a very long time, but finally unleashes the horsepower on the way towards Turn 1. Nathan Moore will lead. Matt Caruana should slot into second place as Remy Fortin and Leo Bonneman battle for third place through Turn 1. It looks like Leo Bonneman has prevailed. Remy Fortin will stay fourth, with Nikolai Loft into fifth place through the first corners for the first time, and Nathan Moore converts pole position into an early race lead. Can Adam Isaacson do the same at the front of GT4? It looks like he's got the jump on the field as well.
And Adam Isaacson, the start he really needed, of course, that GT4 Pro Championship coming right down to the wire. Whoever is going to be first between the two, looks as though the number 3 behind is making some progress. Christophe Herbigno not had the start he wanted. He's only got up 4 positions so far in the LMP3 field, so had some work to do as Julien Plumet has gone off the circuit.
He certainly has. Meanwhile, it's side by side for the lead overall in GT4, and there's contact already. The two coming together, and Impulse trying to impose their control on this race. Adam Isaacson says no thank you, and he pushes the car alongside him, driven by Thomas March Burgess, into the grass through turn 6. What a remarkable moment on the opening lap of this race. We'll take a look at some first lap replays in a few moments time, but it's all been going on in LMP3 as well. Ben Gregory has also been off the road at Tower Corner.
Ben Gregory has really not had the season that he would have wanted. He's been suffering from illness all season long, and I have to say, Ben, being here tonight. Congratulations. I think that's worth a round of applause in itself. So Gregory's race is not off to the start he wanted. I think he'll be just hoping to see the checkered flag at the end of this evening and see this season over and done with. Richard Simner is now kind of the roadblock in the middle of the Impulse Racing train at the head of the GT4 field. Thomas Marks Burgess has managed to get his way past and start to challenge Adam Isaacson, which is, you know, probably best case scenario right now for Impulse Racing, but they need to get the pressure on. Timo Hayden is the last of their 3 cars in that train. He needs to get himself forward and start to put the pressure on, because if they let Adam Isaacson get away, as he has at some of the races this season, Ewan, I think it's going to be a very difficult challenge to come back from.
True, but Timo Hayden is so tactically astute, you can be sure that he's saving fuel and tyres at the moment by sitting in the group and just waiting along. But you're right, they can't afford to let Isaacson get away, and that's maybe why Thomas Marks Burgess was so eager to get through on that opening lap. This is what happened to Julien Plumet. It just looked like he grabbed the grass actually on the way towards turn 5. He got back going again just in front of the GT4s, and this is what happened to Ben Gregory. He dropped it on his own too.
So easy to do for in both of those corners, especially on the first lap where you're still getting everything up to temperature. It's something that these drivers will be keenly aware of, and especially as we head into the night, potentially a tyre change, they're going to have to watch out for that through this event. Adam Watson we're looking at in the Altitude eSports car having a fight with Matt Loveridge, one of the other drivers in the Pro field, who he's been a bit of an underdog really. In this whole season, Ewan, where the pace hasn't been quite that of the front runners, but his strategy has been absolutely fantastic, and he's pulled off some excellent results as Matt Loveridge. And then later on in the race is really where we start to see that car come alive.
Yeah, 3rd place in the championship at the moment for Matt Loveridge. He's only 16 points off the title, but he does need a bit of a miracle today to be able to take it. As I've said earlier on, 50% is the marker you need to reach to score points on any given day. Given how many drivers get points, you've got to really be within 10, I would say, to have a chance at winning the title today. As you can see in GT4, and we've only got 4 drivers, so even if Lee King McGee finishes in 1st position and Josh Boot finishes down in 4th, then it's going to be very tricky indeed, as we've got another spin in LMP3. That's Adam Hedgecock in the LMP3 ammo, and he's backed it into the wall and lost his rear wing as well.
Unlucky for Adam Hedgecock at the opening portion of this race, and around he goes, and he's going to need to come down onto the pit lane and take an early fast repair, which he has done indeed. Of course, only after 2 laps. That does mean that the strategy is going to be quite tricky for Adam Hedgecock today. I think that car is going to be pretty much out of contention very early on in the AM category of the LMP3s.
Yeah, I would say so. So let's get on Christophe Herbigneau watch, shall we, early on, because that's where the championship's going to be won and lost today. Only 9th in LMP3 Pro at the moment, but he is up to 10th overall in the class. Now, that doesn't matter for points, but it does show you that he is making overtakes. He will have started down in 16th in the class, and he's already made up nearly half of his way to the front of the field. And while he's been doing that, he's still only lost 8 seconds to Nathan Moore. There's another dive, and that's a position that will matter. Nikolai Loft gets dispatched off there, and Christophe Herbigneau's up to 8th in class.
So for Christophe Herbigneau to win the championship, if Nathan Moore wins the race, Herbigneau needs to be 4th or higher. If he is 5th, Nathan Moore will slightly outscore him, and also taking into account the point for pole as well into that, I think Christophe Herbigneau has to be top 4 to guarantee himself this championship.
He does, as long as Nathan Moore doesn't get the 2 points for fastest lap as well. So to be absolutely sure, then he will have to be on the podium. However, he might get the points for the 2 points for gaining the most positions during the race. I'd imagine he's almost a shoo-in for that, isn't he? Even at this stage. So that's going to be something to think about as well. We haven't normally had to contend with those 2 points for the Forever Forward Award, which is awarded to the driver with the most positions gained in each class per race. And we are having to worry about it today. Now, this is a replay of what happened at the start of GT4. Just watch the top 2 here especially. Adam Isaacson versus Thomas Marks Burgess. I think this is a great insight into what we might see for the remainder of the day. The aggression from Impulse as they try and help Timo Hayden to a title.
we've seen Impulse Racing all season long very much on a let's all work together, save a bit of fuel, go for the fuel strategy of sort of approach to every single race. Adam Isaacson's gone for the let's go flat out and hope for the best approach. And it looks as though something may have happened for Impulse through Big Ben towards the front of the field. So this would have been Adam Isaacson and I believe Sasha Anglesey, or might have been Thomas Marks Burgess, not sure. There's the contact. Marks Burgess did an incredible job not to put that in the wall. Same goes for Adam Isaacson there. That could have been a very easy championship for Timo Hayden. In a split second, you can see the two cars just converging lines. I'm not sure whether race control might have something to say about that. I would say it's a racing incident on the opening lap, but Timo Hayden probably, you know, laughing his head off at that one, thinking, oh, maybe I've got a chance here. But it's something else that I spotted coming into the hairpin there, Ewan, is that Thomas Marks Burgess, Sasha Anglesey nearly ran into the back of Thomas Marks Burgess.
Yes, that is true as well. Live pictures, by the way, back again, and there was a pass into turn 1 by Marks Burgess, who got the lead. Then Isaacson won it back again, down into turn 3. So it's interesting racing at the front of the field. It's starting to get more spread out, actually, at the very front now. However, we are still seeing all of the championship leaders right up there. It's a whoever beats the other situation between Adam Isaacson and Timo Hayden today, by the way, especially because of the point gained by Isaacson for the pole position. So we'll just have to keep an eye on where Timo Hayden gets to and whether we see those two battle out on the circuit. But they'll be a little bit worried, I think, about what we saw 1 week ago at Fuji. He was held back for a little bit, Adam Isaacson, but as soon as he got on his own out front, he was never seen again by anybody else.
Yeah, and I think that's something really important that I think Impulse are very aware of. They don't want to let that happen again, because obviously we saw Adam Isaacson incredibly strong last time out at Fuji. So Richard Simner, I think, is kind of tagging along at this point. I'm not sure whether Sasha Anglesey and Timo Hayden starting to get a bit frustrated with the 42 Porsche, or whether they're just all sitting behind and they all have the pace to follow along behind Adam Isaacson. That is a very interesting thing to look at. This is the battle for the race lead. Nathan Moore and Matt Caruana as they come down into Tower Corner one more time. Nathan Moore still leading the way. In fact, actually, I think I might have been slightly mistaken. This is Remy Fortin and Leo Bonneman. I can't read a track map apparently this evening. So Bonneman trying to go up to position number 3, and in fact, he looks as though he's just lost it.
I think so, yeah. I think so. By the way, I've had a correction in YouTube chat, which is very welcome indeed, by the way, if you know better than us, which is quite likely. You can't get the forever forward points if you don't qualify, or you're excluded from qualifying. So that goes for Christophe Hermino. So he is not able to get those 2 points because he was forced to be at the back. So that clears that one up. That should mean that the championship leaders won't be anywhere near those points over the course of the day, but we'll just keep an eye on it to make absolutely sure. It does seem in GT4 here as well that Richard Simner is struggling maybe a little bit compared to those around him at the moment. He's holding up the 2 Impulse cars of Sasha Anglesey and Timo Hayden right behind. Just that little bit, and there's the mistake right in front of Anglesey, and more importantly, in front of the championship leader. Richard Simner's off the road. Now, was he helped there into the hairpin, or did he make that error by himself?
I'm not sure. He may have been helped, but the important thing for Timo Hayden is he got through unscathed. Unfortunately, there's a bit of a gap to make up. Replay up on your screen. Sasha Anglesey just got on the brakes a little bit later. Richard Simner went spinning around in the 42, and I think Anglesey will be pretty annoyed with himself for that move. But that kind of allows Adam Isaacson and Thomas Marks Burgess to be released at the front of the field. Then you can see behind Timo Hayden, 4th position, Ewan. Lee King-McGee in the AM lead. He is up there with the pros. That is a fantastic drive in the opening 10 minutes of this race from King-McGee.
Really is, and he's doing all he can to try and take the title home today. I think he's going to reduce that margin by the end of the day, but I don't think it's going to be a title. Let's wait and see, though, as he tags along with them. Now then, this is an interesting moment too. Nathan Moore is not only being caught by Matt Caruana here, however, more importantly, I feel, is the fact that we could be into traffic very shortly indeed. It's not a hugely long lap round here, and we are expecting quite a few times for these guys to go past the GT4s, but let's wait and see how many times, and let's see who makes it there first. Matt Caruana looks to the inside, but Nathan Moore will continue to lead.
And Nathan Moore, an excellent defence into Sunset Bend. He knows he wants to keep the lead heading on to this most crucial lap of the race, I think. The first time through traffic. They are now catching the 22 of Francois Perdereau in the Porsche. And they're going to look to get past him into turn number 1. Nathan Moore does it comfortably, but Matt Caruana taking the risk. He has to stay on the back of Moore. He's got the run off the corner. To the outside goes Caruana. Moore's got the inside, the favourable line into turn number 3, but actually Caruana's held onto it a little bit too much curb, and Moore holds on to the lead.
Well, that was far too far up the curb there for Matt Caruana, and he knows it, and he's actually opened up quite a gap now, actually, to Nathan Moore. He'll be hoping that there will be some traffic and they can close back in again, but look at the advantage they've got over the rest of the field. I think Christophe Herbinot's best hopes of holding on to this title has got to be getting up to 3rd place, which is not out of the question at all. I mean, even winning's not out of the question, to be honest, for Herbinot, who's really not that far away at the moment. He's battling with Callum Brandt. He's got through, indeed, on Callum Brandt up to 6th place as the battle for 3rd continues on your screen. Remy Fortin and Leo Bonneman. On this occasion, Leo Bonneman gets back through again and will now hold 3rd position in the heavy traffic now of the GT4s.
And these two fighting is actually very, very good for Christophe Herbinot because they're dropping back from the leaders. They're pulling that 3rd position back towards Herbinot. And I think that is really the crucial position here, Ewan, where... So if Christophe finishes 3rd, Nathan wins the race and gets fastest lap, they will be tied on points at the end of this race. It will go to a countback of most wins, which I believe Christophe Herbinot, due to his success all season long, will get that championship. Nathan Moore, Matt Caruana making their way through the traffic. Caruana looking to the inside, going to make it 3 wide into Sunset this time, and Moore's got the outside. A little bit later on the brakes, they're going to split Lee King McGee, or at least try. I think Moore has been a little bit more clever in the traffic, used King McGee to block Caruana in. Hasn't disadvantaged Matt that much though, tucked right up behind the WSRE sports car as they head past the GT4 Pro Championship leader into today. Caruana around the outside. They're going to go 3 wide past the leaders of GT4. What a fantastic move for the lead.
That was unbelievable. Have you ever seen anything like that? Matt Caruana went round the outside at seemingly impossible speed into a seemingly impossible gap, and he's come out with the race lead. Nathan Moore will not mind, I suppose, because you've just got to take your hat off to that kind of move there from Matt Caruana, who takes the lead of this race. He's tied, by the way, with Christophe Herbinot for the most wins all season long. Unfortunately, on the days where he hasn't won, he's been slightly farther away than where he needs to be, but this could be his 4th of the season, and if this is the move that seals it very early on, it's very special indeed. Just look at the way he goes round the outside here, and fair play to the GT4s too for giving him the room and allowing him to do that.
I think Adam Isaacson definitely saw that coming, just left enough room to allow Matt Caruana to go around the outside, but props to Matt. That was a fantastic move. Some people aren't massive fans of those kind of moves where you're using the traffic for your own game in multi-class racing, but it's multi-class racing. The traffic is, you know, you can lose or gain time in traffic, Ewan, and that is a perfect example of how to use the traffic to gain a position.
Yeah, it's part of the game. Let's have a look at the perspective from Thomas Mike Burgess. This is going to be quite scary. Watch the prototype pop up on the outside there. Look how close it is as well. The adjustment that these guys had to make through the middle of the corner there is not easy to do, by the way, in these GT4s. They're nowhere near as agile as the prototypes, and for them to change the line halfway through a high-load corner like that one is pretty remarkable. I think that does show us, though, a little bit of what we might see throughout the race, because Matt Caruana can very much use the fact that he's not in a championship fight and Nathan Moore is. He can use that advantage to take a few more risks that Moore might not be willing to take.
Yeah, and I think Moore may be starting to... He's got to play the long game here. Of course, they're still 10 seconds ahead of Christophe Herbinot at this point, but Herbinot is making his way through the field. He's come through the traffic last lap, though, so we haven't got respective lap times as they stand at the moment between the two. But I think the important thing for Christophe Herbinot is to get himself up to 3rd. If he can get himself into 3rd, I think that guarantees his championship, whatever happens to Nathan Moore. So Moore really needs to win this race.
Yeah.
And hope that Herbinot cannot get on the podium. I think that really is, that's the big factor here.
That's the situation in LMP3 AM, by the way. It's between Mads Kjelsen and Joost Boermeister pretty much today. Although there are others there too, Petter Herschel and Mac Farquhar. But between Boermeister and Kjelsen, if either of them win, then they'd be hard pushed to not be champion. To be honest, I think Boermeister would have to finish second with the fastest lap, and he might hold on, but it's going to be tricky. And as we've already spoken about in GT4, no matter what happens, whoever finishes ahead of the other will be champion here tonight between Adam Isaacson and Timo Hayden. There's the battle. Impulse have lost one bullet in the gun. However, they've still got two versus Isaacson, who's been alone all season battling against these Impulse cars.
And Timo Hayden has closed back up to the back of these two, so I think the pressure is going to start to be on Thomas Marks Burgess. He's clearly the wingman today. He's the one putting the pressure on Adam Isaacson for Timo Hayden. Hayden really just needs to sit and wait for Isaacson to make a mistake. We have seen it happen this season, remember, all the way back to round one, Ewan, where Isaacson hit that sausage dog curve through the final sector, damaged the floor, and had to take 3 pit stops in the race because of it. Maybe Timo Hayden's holding out for something like that. I think on pure pace, based off of qualifying, Isaacson has the pace, but I think Hayden is the one that's maybe over the course of the season produced a much smarter race when it comes to strategy. He's sitting there in the wings waiting, he's saving the fuel. Sebring actually is a circuit where you can save a lot of fuel over a lap and really gain some advantage in the pit lane.
By the way, Sasha Engelsey's crash was not only important for this battle for the race lead, battle for the championship in the drivers' standings, but also in the teams. Don't forget that Impulse came into today just 1 point behind the WSO Esports bookkicker team, who are actually missing 2 out of their 3 drivers. Now, you can elect to have 3 drivers in a team and take your 2 scores from each round. Now, Impulse Racing only have 2 drivers, but at least they're both here. Nathan Moore's flying the flag on his own today for WSR. So, Anglesey dropping down wouldn't matter as much normally. However, Petter Herschel and Mac Farquhar are only 12 points behind them, and at the moment they're running in second. Oh, they were second and third. I think Herschel's had a problem in the last few moments because he's now down in 5th place. But the fact that Anglesey is down in 9th place could cost Impulse a team's title as well.
It's one of these things where, you know, just something like that, where Sasha Anglesey's probably missed his breaking point. It won't be by much, 2 or 3 meters. That's how fine the lines are when you're running that close in traffic, and all of a sudden he's heading backwards and issues are, he's having issues with, you know, potentially the points in the team's championship. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, Petter Herschel hitting issues. When you said he dropped down the order, I instantly went to go and look and see if he'd had a pit stop. It doesn't look like he has for the 77. So something has happened to that AM car that has dropped him down the field. Joost Boermeister really in the AM category had a strong start to the season in LMP3, Ewan, but seems to have fallen off the second half of the season, not quite been as strong. We've seen the likes of Mads Kjelsen and Mac Farquhar really come into their own in these latter parts of the championship and build up their championship, and that's what we like to see. Back towards the front of the field, Christophe Herbigno and Mert Menderes going at it for 5th position. This is a crucial overtake now for Christophe, because once he is past Mert, he is off to go and chase the podium.
Despite their similar look, they are not teammates. Christophe Herbigno is with Julien Plumet and has an outside chance at winning the title here too, at 21 points back from WSI's bookkicker in 4th place. But given Plumet's already been off the road and Herbigno started from the back, their chances are even slimmer than they were at the start of the race. It's really about the driver's title here today for Christophe Herbigno, and his first 10-15 minutes were very, very impressive, I've got to say, for the championship leader. However, in these last 5 or so, he's just begun to stall a bit, not only in terms of this overtake to Mert Menderes, but actually Leo Bonneman and Remy Fortin are now at least 5 seconds ahead, and he's got to be focusing on that podium, as we're talking about time and time again. That podium place is getting further and further away, and with every second that we're talking about this, the less time he has to close a growing margin.
And we have seen drivers who have had exclusions from qualifying where they run up the front. The top 5 in this championship are actually very close on pace, and it will be a lot harder for Christophe Herbigno to make up that time once he does get past Mert Menderes. Something, though, to point out about Christophe Herbigno, he is incredibly aggressive in traffic, and we've seen it all season long, where he is the one able to, I think, make the most out of any traffic situation. So that is something very important for Christophe Herbigno to keep in mind once we get into a stage of the race where the traffic is more consistent. consistent. Of course, in the opening half hour of the race, that's not the case. Both, I'd actually say the LMP3 field is much more spread out currently than the GT4 field is. So once we get towards the last half an hour of the race, the traffic's going to become a little bit more of a factor. It's a little bit more consistent. The top two still going at it hard. It looks as though Nathan Moore, while he has dropped down to second, hasn't given up his chase of Matt Caruana, but Caruana pushing every single limit in that 17.
And he's just chalked himself up with 2 more points provisionally. At the first 1:53 of the race so far goes to Nathan Moore, and he has the fastest lap as things stand. Now, earlier on, Matt Caruana had the fastest lap by a couple of attempts. I wonder whether, now that Moore's in second place, he's benefiting from that slipstream. Matt Caruana effectively gifting the WSR driver a fastest lap there.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to do it. I don't know whether I'm sure Caruana hasn't done it on purpose. It's probably down to the fact that Nathan Moore is tucked up behind Caruana, and of course you run quite a lot of aero at Sebring, so the run down the Ullman straight and down the main straight, if you've got a good draft, it's actually worth quite a considerable amount of time here at this circuit. So that could be something which is incredibly important for this race. Nathan Moore with that 2 extra points. Of course, as they run at the moment, Christophe Herbigno will not be the championship. It will go the way of Nathan Moore, purely because Moore will outscore him. But of course, there's a long way to go. Hour and 7 minutes left.
Yep, there'd be an 11-point turnaround from a 7-point gap, and Moore would have 4 to his advantage. Meanwhile, at the top of your screen, the GT4 leading battle continues on. And we're not far away from another trip through the traffic, by the way, with an hour and 7 remaining. Getting to that stage in the race now where the first pit stops may well be upon us. Well, Ben Gregory has already made the first one in LMP3, and we're already seeing Adam Hedgecock out the race. We're already seeing Sasha Anglesey into pit lane from GT4 as well. So further bad luck for Impulse Racing as they try and hang on to their team's championship lead over at Writer Engineering Esports, who have still got both their cars inside the top 5 of LMP3 AM.
I would say that Sasha Anglesey's come down to get a fast repair. I think that is repairing the damage that was caused down at the hairpin with Richard Simner. Simner not come down onto the pit lane as of yet. Ben Gregory, the first one in LMP3 to go onto the alternate strategy, which we've seen used a lot in the AM category this season. You and Joost Burmeister really this kind of paving the way of showing how strong that strategy can be. So, but we haven't seen Joost down onto the pit lane yet. So that's an important, I think, a very important metric in my head for how the strategy works in these races. We are nearly half an hour into this race, so I would say that Joost is maybe going for the more traditional strategy today. Final race, championship at stake. He's going to change it up and try something different.
Certainly is. Surprised about that somewhat, actually, but there you go. Burmeister's now into 3rd place, by the way. Last time we were seeing him was down in 4th, so he's moving on up. Matt Farquhar is next on the list there, but Matt Kelton is leading by at least 3 seconds now at the front of the field, and it's only a gap that's going to grow further in the evening sky. Let's look at the colour in the background there of that shot. Was quite spectacular as the sun sets at Sebring on a World Sportscar Championship season at number 2 here from Sebring. We started out season 1 from this venue. We're going to finish season 2 from here as well. Out through Big Bend for the GT4 leaders. These 3 very much staying together here, and you can imagine Impulse Racing getting every drop of fuel they possibly can from this group that they're in at the moment.
I think they're going to be trying to run those Mercedes on absolute fumes, and I wouldn't be surprised if Adam Isaacson does the same. Of course, he's currently doing the heavy lifting out of the 3 of them. Thomas Mark Spurgis hasn't really put much of an attack on now that the race has started to settle down. A little bit of traffic making their way through the LMP3s. That's the 113 of Ben Gregory, who is, of course, delayed after the spin on lap 1, and also an early pit stop, and around goes Michael Pedersen in the 97. He clears the circuit so no one else is involved, but Adam Watson in the 291 also ended off at the outside of Cunningham Corner. So something has happened down there between the 291 and the 97.
Let's see, it's a late dive from Pedersen and a spin to the inside of the corner. Now, was he out of his rights to... I don't think he was really intending to do that, to be honest. It was just a case of he broke maybe where he thought he could, and those ahead broke a bit earlier than he was expecting.
Little bit of an over-exuberant move, I think, from Michael Pedersen. Props to Alessandro Prooti in the 61 as well for avoiding an incident there, because that was very, very close. Something I've just noticed, and the lights aren't on fully yet, so may not be an issue, but it looks as though Adam Watson doesn't have any lights on the front of his car. Now, that could be an issue if the lights do come on before the first round of pit stops here, Ewan, because it could be that Adam Watson is left without some lights.
Maybe. We'll see. To be honest, I didn't think it was going to get dark enough for lights to really be a factor, but I guess it probably will do, given the fact that we started this race already in sunset conditions. There are the 3 GT4 leaders again. It's an hour and 3 still remaining in the season. And at the moment, Adam Isaacson in championship winning position. Down there in GT4, by the way, the fastest lap currently going to Timo Hayden, but that is not enough to save the title, with Isaacson gaining 5 points on him in terms of positions. Still not enough to retain that win. Isaacson, by the way, or whoever wins indeed between these two, would win on countback for wins as well, because they're both currently tied at 2 points. There's very little you can use to separate these two.
Yeah, I think it is going to be the position they come down to on the circuit. And I'm going to correct myself here before I'm sure someone will do in the YouTube chat. In the daylight running, the Porsches do not have any lights on. So it's a bit confusing, because obviously the Mercedes do, and so does the Aston Martin. They both have daytime running lights, but the Porsche does not. Another thing to note, Ewan, is sunset is in 17 minutes. I've just gone and had a look.
Okay.
This date, it is at 8:15 in the evening. It is currently 7:58 in sim, so we will see a sunset in this race, which probably explains why it's got quite dark over the last 10 minutes or so. So that, again, is another factor these drivers are going to have to deal with. I think we're going to run in the night here.
Okay. I maybe over-ambitious from me there. I suppose we're not that close to summer yet, are we, realistically? But there we are. There's the shot. What a beautiful shot. iRacing at its finest. 32 degrees down on the circuit, just coming up to 8 o'clock on the 28th of May. It's a very flat part of the world, and so the sunsets look spectacular. However, the drop-off is very quick. It will get dark quite quickly around here. I didn't think it would, but I'm going to be proven wrong, evidently, over the course of the evening. And this most recent lap, by the way, Mads Kjeldsen has lost a lot of time. He's gone from the lead in LMP3 AM now to a good few seconds away from that. And we've already spoken about Joost Bouwmeester already coming into the pit lane. He may have dodged a bit of a bullet there, because Mads Kjeldsen has clearly run into some sort of problem. Mac Farquhar has gone into the pit lane. Kjeldsen follows him in as well, as it's side by side for the overall lead. They pass the GT4 leading battle. Matt Caruana on the inside. Nathan Moore gets alongside, but he can't get through.
Yeah, not quite close enough for Nathan Moore to make an effort there, really, and the inside line into the hairpin is incredibly strong. The opening of the LMP3 and pit stops is happening. Mads Kjeldsen, Mac Farquhar, Peter Herschel are the 3 cars you can see down on the pit lane on the bottom of your screens. Something else to note, obviously, of course, Mac Farquhar having, Mads Kjeldsen having that slow lap, Ewan. Julien Plumet had an even slower lap. I'm pretty sure I saw the 31 stopped on my track map on the exit of Tower, so potentially a connected incident there between those two, but a little bit more fight back to come from the LMP3 AMs. This isn't over with an hour to go.
We've got some picking through of replays to do in a few moments' time. We'll get that to you at some point. Joost Bouwmeester will take the lead in LMP3 AM, I would guess, because his pit stop is a lot shorter than those around him. We said that he was maybe changing tactic because it's the final round, but it's evident that he was just waiting a little bit longer to stop before doing his traditional short fill early on. There's the spin for Plumet, I think it was. Is that Kjeldsen in the background there? Was it?
That could have been. That could explain the 3-second time loss if he's gone on for the exit of Tower. I would probably say that the time loss that the car that went off to the left there would be around 3 seconds. So.
Oh, whoa! And sorry, big moment here as Christophe Herbinot gets up into 4th position. Now, if Nathan Moore will need some fastest lap points at this stage already here, as with an hour to go, Christophe Herbinot is into 4th position. That would cost him 7 points, but it would tie the race with, or tie the championship with Nathan Moore if Moore was leading, and he would win on countback. So Nathan Moore now requires the fastest lap and a win.
And that is based off of Christophe Herbinot not catching Leo Bonneman, who is only about 2.5-3 seconds up the road. So with 58 minutes to go, the case for a Herbinot title here is getting stronger and stronger. I still think there is a chance something could happen. We have seen it happen. Of course, Herbinot had issues at Fuji last time out. You know, there was incidents that actually have led to this exclusion from qualifying for Herbinot. So something to consider, something to keep in mind in this race. Yes, it's looking a little bit more likely that LMP3 Pro category will go the way of Christophe Herbinot. There was almost a disaster in traffic. Could have been the camera angle, but actually now we've got some side-by-side for the GT4 race lead by the looks of it. Thomas Marks-Burgess had a look around the outside of Adam Isaacson, but Isaacson managed to hold it off. Not very impressed with the LMP3s coming through into Cunningham Corner there as they now head out of Tower. And the lights are on, Ewan. We're going into the night.
We certainly are. The darkness is falling, not only on Sebring, but on the World Sportscar Championship for its 2nd season. A fascinating championship fight in at least 3 of the classes. In GT4 AMP, Josh Boot is about 12.5 minutes away from sealing the title by getting to halfway. Pit stops are aplenty in LMP3 as well. Matt Caruana comes in from the lead. Nathan Moore will go round and take that off of him. Leo Bonneman will follow in as well as Christophe Herbinot goes through and will go into 2nd position. Now, the strategic games of this race really do begin. Seeing 2 pretty defined strategies so far in LMP3, and let's see what we're going to get in LMP3 Pro.
I would say that is all of your pro cars going as far as they can. Nathan Moore, we've seen probably fuel saving. We've seen it throughout the season. He has been a little bit better on the fuel. We definitely saw it out at Fuji. So he's going for an extra lap. The fact that Leo Bonneman, Mert Menderes and Callum Brandt are all in this time around makes me think they are trying something different. But Matt Caruana clearly trying the undercut. I think potentially there was going to be a little bit of traffic on this lap, but actually Caruana's come out in the middle of the GT4 field. So it could have been worth going an extra lap here, Ewan, to try and clear that field, because I think that could be worth enough time. So this could be the moment when Nathan Moore catapults himself back into the lead. Not because he's made the pass on track, but purely because Matt Caruana is going to have a little bit more impeding on the outlap.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's why I would have given it a little bit longer. If he had the fuel to do so, I think he should have gone at least one further. Then he would have avoided this situation, which Nathan Moore is going to avoid, I would argue. There is Caruana in the background. You'd imagine he'll be through on all of them by the end of the lap, so Moore should be as well, as long as he doesn't take a longer pit stop. It was 26 seconds from Caruana, as it was from Leo Bonneman, Mert Menderes, Callum Brandt as well. My heart dropped for a moment there because Christophe Herbinot wasn't in the list, but of course he's not stopped yet. He's in 2nd place and we're awaiting his. There goes Matt Caruana. Hasn't been disadvantaged too much, but you know, you've still got to lose some time to pass these cars.
And now is going to be the interesting moment for the overall race lead, because Nathan Moore is down onto the pit lane in the 88. So we're going to see to what extent that outlap for Matt Caruana has hurt the 17. You can see Nathan Moore in the main picture on your screen. He hasn't yet come to a stop.
He hit the wall. He just hit the pit wall.
Oh, I missed that. He's got a fast repair, though. He could add that onto the pit stop. If there is any everlasting damage, the fast repair could be added on at the end. It might cost him a 10th or so, or a second or so, but I think he'll probably gain that back over the course of the race.
That was a bit clumsy, to be honest with you. Just drove straight front right into the pit wall there. Nathan Moore, but there you go. 26 seconds, the benchmark from Matt Caruana. Nathan Moore gets closer to 27, but I think he'll still be in the lead here. Releases the limiter. Not only was he on lower fuel during that in-lap, but he was also in clean air. Matt Caruana, having to make those overtakes, has got himself down to 2nd, and it's going to be a chase for Matt Caruana to even get back on terms.
I think Matt Caruana could do it. He has had good pace all season long, but it shows how crucial that clear in lap for Nathan Moore has been. Obviously, that longer stop probably to take on that little bit extra fuel that he's burnt. Matt Caruana would have come in with wouldn't have come in with an empty fuel tank, but I can guarantee you that Nathan Moore was probably getting close to it. Adam Isaacson is away in the GT4 Pro category. He's run a 26.6 second stop. Timo Hyde and Thomas Marks Burgess 31.6. So Adam Isaacson now going to have a 5-second advantage at the head of the GT4 field. He's got the breathing room he needs, and I believe that Fuji won that week ago, and this is where we saw Isaacson come into his own when he had no pressure around him. He could just sit and hot lap for 53 minutes. That is the situation he is in now. Thomas Marks Burgess and Timo Hayden, they're going to have a shorter stop this time, but they cannot lose any time. This is going to be a crucial stint for the Impulse Racing team.
Yeah, but they're working together here. I know what you mean about Adam Isaacson working better alone almost. You do feel like he's a little bit disadvantaged in a group like he was for the first part of the race, but now he's on his own. He might be able to push on a bit. But Impulse will see this as an advantage for themselves, surely, as they work together. They can't afford to be split apart very much by LMP3 traffic, but that's exactly what's going to happen here. They've got to work together as best they can, and they've got Sasha Anglesey, I think, to take a short stop, very short stop indeed. I think they were hoping that Anglesey would catch them both, but that's not quite been the case. They were hoping for a free-car train, actually, but it's not quite happened.
They would have got a 3-car train for this middle stint. I don't think it would have lasted for too long. Christophe Herbigno, Remy Fortin going at it once again. Through Sunset Corner they go. Herbigno's got the inside line. I think he's going to get the slightly better run off the corner, but can Fortin use the outside line to his advantage? That is Leo Bonneman in the foreground of your screen. That is Christophe Herbigno's championship if he can catch his teammate. Into turn 1 they go, side by side. Remy Fortin on the inside, Christophe Herbigno on the outside. No traffic this time to contend with a position. They're still side by side, Ewan, but Herbigno has got it done.
He certainly does. Fortin just breaks a little bit earlier, and Herbigno is up to 4th place. As things stand, that would mean he's losing 7 points to Nathan Moore, but because those fastest lap points are going to Matt Caruana instead, Nathan Moore will finish the season with the same amount of points, but he will lose out because of his lack of wins compared to Christophe Herbigno. It does feel slightly remarkable, really, that Nathan Moore found himself in this situation without having won yet this season. He's been in the top 10 every single race. He's been in the top 5 in all but 1 races, i.e. all of the races that have counted for this season, but he's never been on the top step. Feels a bit remarkable, really.
He's had an incredibly consistent season, and you have to wonder whether maybe just getting that win, could the Daytona result been the other way round? And if that was the case, we could be having a different conversation, because Nathan Moore would have 3 more points to his name. What would have happened if the second place at Fuji would have counted? That's another 2 points that, of course, after Fuji, the provisional results that we could report on was that Nathan Moore was 6 points back from Christophe Herbigno after that race. Obviously, with the disqualification and having to use that as a drop round, that changed to 8 points. So if it was 6 points, Ewan, as it would stand at the moment, Nathan Moore would be the champion by 1 point. It'd be, Formula 1 2007 all over again. But it really is a case of, if Nathan Moore had just got that win, kept that second place, kept that win at Fuji, what could have been?
Yeah, but then again, you've got to read the rules and abide by them. So there's 2 sides to that coin for sure, but it's something that he's going to look back on, that's for sure, and feel, well, if only I'd have got those points and got that result, maybe it would be a little bit different here today. It would certainly be a little bit closer. I think what we've seen so far, though, is that Christophe Herbigno is the class of the field. He's not only shown himself to be very quick when he's out front and on his own, but also very quick indeed when he's having to work his way through traffic, and very adept at overtaking too. He's defending at the moment from Remy Fortin, who could take the title off him right now. Not going to on the way down the hill here towards the hairpin, but he's just got to be wary of that he doesn't lose a place here and it doesn't get silly.
And this is something Christophe Herbigno has to think about. As I said, once he's in the top 5, it's much harder to make up time, make up positions, because the pace and the competition is that slightly next step up from the rest of the pro field. So the top 5 have all been incredibly strong all season long. Christophe Herbigno, of course, incredibly strong from that very first round, in that first race we saw at Barcelona. An incredibly good performance from Christophe, and I could kind of see a title challenge really eyeing up for him. And the same for Matt Caruana, and Shane Caruana hasn't quite had the season I'm sure he would have wanted. WSR Esports, I think, took a couple of rounds to really get into it and show their strength. Maybe if Nathan Moore and Adam State had been more on the pace from the first round, we could be having a different conversation here. But this is what's so important about a championship at this level, is you have to be on it from the moment that first qualifying session starts. And as is shown all season long, qualifying is incredibly important. Of course, Christophe Herbigno has kind of proven that point wrong at the moment, having got up to 4th position in the opening half of this race. We're only about 3 minutes now away from the halfway point of this final round. So there's so many what-ifs that have happened all season that have led us to the point now where we're arguing, or we're discussing single points that are going to swing multiple championships in multiple ways.
Absolutely, we're being asked to consider something else as well in GT4 AM. Someone saying that we haven't taken into consideration Leaking McGee's pole points. I've already added that to his tally, by the way, so we're at 10 going into this race. Fastest lap, if he gets it, let's find out if he's got it at the moment. He's currently done a 10.0. That is currently good enough for fastest lap, so yeah, that's another 2 points, which gives him an 8-point deficit, and that would still mean that Josh Boot would have to finish 5th or lower, which is going to be difficult when there's only 4 cars in the race. However, mentioning that incident points remove championship points, and so he can still win it. Now, I'm not sure how that system entirely works, because there is a bit at the bottom about penalty points after a certain amount of incident points, but and it's mentioned about points deductions being triggered at certain points, etc. However, how many, and you know, is it just off tracks? Is it for contact too? You know, there's a lot of figuring out that might have to be done here to quite work out whether any of these guys, to be honest, it goes for all 4 championships, how that's going to play into today's race.
So, from my experience of running WSR leagues as a driver and a team manager, and also from having the rules in front of me, in GT4 AM, as it stands at the moment, the incident point penalties will not be a factor. Leaking McGee is on 1, Josh Boot is on 2 incident points. So it's -1 point at every 8 once you hit 8x, and then every 4x after, and then once you reach 14x, it'll be -1 point for every 2x after. And then at 24x, you'll receive a penalty, which will be equivalent to a drive-through. So one point that I want to bring up on this, Mads Kjeldsen, one of the LMP3 AM Championship contenders, is on 13x. He is going to be losing points here, and he is very close to that next stage where you're losing a point at every 2 incident points.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going to have to put you in charge, Jack, of figuring out who's on what incident points and who's getting penalties here, because otherwise this is going to get very complicated very quickly, and I'm not going to be able to keep up with what's going on here. Not least because everybody's scattered all over the place at the moment, because pit strategies are half worked out and they're not fully worked out, which means that we've got some false leaders at the moment. In the case of Joost Boomeister, for example, he might be leading this race overall, but he also equally might not be, and that's hard to work out for the moment. Is Adam Isaacson pulling out the margin at the moment? Yes, but does that mean he'll get the lead at the end of the pit stops? Excuse me, not necessarily. The gap for the GT4 AM lead is coming down right now at the moment as well. 1 second between Leaking McGee and Josh Boot, although Josh Boot did 3 seconds shorter in the pit lane last time round. It's all very complicated at the moment, and it's very difficult to work out who's even leading this race, never mind who's leading the championship.
Yeah, and obviously Josh Boot, he has made that time up. I spotted that just a few moments ago on my timing screen. Of course, timing is available. The link is pinned in the YouTube chat. But Leaking McGee now coming under pressure from Josh Boot. Now, I think Josh Boot here, I think the 606 should really play the safe game here, because it feels to me, or they're saying that, I don't think Leo Bonneman was playing the safe route there going into Sunset Bend this time around. Now, we have hit 50% distance as these two are going to be crossing the line, so I think we can now very confidently say, based on no penalties, that Josh Boot will be the GT4 AM champion as it stands. And I think he would like to round it off with a race win, but I think he'll also be aware of what's at stake. So Lee King McGee will be watching his mirrors. I don't think we're going to see quite as fierce of a battle as what we have seen in the other classes so far today.
It's bizarre irony, isn't it? We ended the season at Daytona at the end of last year, and this was the championship battle. The others were kind of sorted very quickly, really. It was Jürgen Frank who was so dominant overall last season in LMP3 Pro, for example, and so we didn't really get a championship fight like we're having here today. We didn't get the drama that we've seen so far. As you say, not over by any means for now. As things stand, Nathan Moore and Christophe Herbigno are tied on points then in that case, or would I be wrong to say that, Jack? Are they getting anywhere near towards their incident limits themselves, or are we okay on that front as well?
We're absolutely fine on that front. Nathan Moore currently is, I believe, one of, if not the only, he is the only car in the field who has run a 0x race up to this point. Christophe Herbigno has just one incident point, so another driver who is not going to be affected. The ones who have hit the 8x, I'm going to start losing points, mark, is Mads Kjellson, Julien Plumet, let me just give me 2 seconds. So it's going to be Adam Watson is on the most incident points currently at 14. Nicholas Gatz, Mads Kjellson are both on 13. Michael Pedersen is on 11. Julien Plumet is on 10. And Ben Gregory is on 9. Richard Simner and Matt Loveridge are both on the cut-off point at 7 instant points, but they will not lose a point as it stands at the moment. But none of the championship contenders are currently close to that limit.
All right, do jump in and let me know if we get that to that stage with any of them, because I'm not going to have a clue otherwise. Good point made in YouTube chat as well at the moment, by the way, about Matt Caruana here, currently running in second place at 1.3, 1.4 seconds away from Nathan Moore, who's currently leading this race at Sebring, of course. Matt Caruana going to be kicking himself for the pit lane speeding penalties this season. That is certainly true, and I mentioned this bit briefly earlier on, but only very briefly. Matt Caruana came into today 19 points off Christophe Herbigno at the front of the championship, but you get the feeling that Caruana could have had a chance of winning this title today had it not been for, especially that one at Interlagos is the one I think about actually. He was right up there to possibly win that race. I thought he was going to go on to win that race. Even though he's had many problems throughout this season, he's still clocked up 3 wins. He's still third in the standings, but it just makes you wonder what more could have been achieved had he kept that momentum going. Could he maybe be crowned the champion here tonight if things had gone a little bit differently, maybe with those pit speeding penalties this season?
You just don't know, and Matt will know that. He'll know that there was a much, much stronger opportunity for him to take this title. Of course, as it stands, coming into today, he was 19 points back from Christophe Herbigno, so mathematically, there is a possibility that he could have won the championship today. Of course, there would be a lot of things have to go wrong for that to happen, Ewan, and I think potentially we're not going to see that today. But Matt Caruana will be very, very aware of the mistakes and the issues that he's had so far this season. Of course, we saw a round where he stopped in the middle of the race, decided that something else must have happened, something must have happened outside of sim racing, and something as a team manager I was telling my team real life comes first. So obviously I'm guessing that something has happened. We don't know for sure. Peter Herschel, Mac McFarquhar, is off. I do believe that is, yes, that's the 74. That was an incredibly confusing incident. The rear end just snapped. It was almost like someone got a rope on it, Ewan, and pulled it round at Le Mans.
And here goes Nicholas Gitz as well on the inside. This is what happened though, side by side. And wow, that was a big snap of oversteer. He snapped back the other way and went into a slide. It's given him side by side for second position here. Mac McFarquhar will hang on, but his tyres won't be particularly enjoying that one at the moment. And he'll hang on to second position for now, but how much longer? Here goes Skitz down the inside again, looking this time in towards turn of 1 with still 40 minutes remaining. But he can't make that work. And so the battle for second will continue on. What that does do is give Joost Boomeister an even bigger lead. And if he hangs on to that, of course, he will be the champion tonight.
Yeah, I think Joost Boomeister will be looking at that thinking, okay, I'm in a good position here, obviously taking a slightly shorter spot and stop first time round, and Mac McFarquhar now 16 seconds behind. Magpie Farquhar's got to take a shorter stop at this second stop here in this race, but I don't think it's 16 seconds worth of time. So Joost Burmeister really now, I think, in the driving seat for the LMP3 AM title. But of course, that one's incredibly close, and it is going to be one that we need to keep an eye on. GT4 AM, as we were discussing before that happened, Ewan, Josh Boot has taken the lead. He's managed to get himself past Lee King McGee, and I do think, although I'm looking at the overall positions, not the in-class positions, that Josh Boot might also get the +2 points for the most moves, because Lee King McGee has obviously lost positions from where he started in class. I think Josh Boot was third, wasn't he? So he's up 2 positions, and of course with only 4 cars in that category today, that's probably, unless Jack Wilkins can go to the lead from here, I think that's going to be our biggest mover and shaker in that class.
I thought Josh Boot was second actually, but even so, I think he might be getting the award, the 2 points awarded for that, because as you say, nobody else moved forward though, so it doesn't matter whether he was second or third, because nobody else has gone anywhere forwards. So I think Josh Boot is going to get another couple of points in that case if he hangs on to the win. Don't forget though, Lee King McGee has a shorter pit stop still to come here at the end of this race, so it could all change, but the chances for him to win this title are looking slim.
And I do wonder whether Lee King McGee here, he's sat behind Josh Boot, saving a little bit of fuel. You know he's got the shorter stop. Why not try and make it a little bit shorter? A litre of fuel, yes, it might only be half a second, but these two are separated by 0.6 of a second. That could be the difference between coming out in the lead or coming out in second position. So a very interesting start. I wonder whether Lee King McGee may be playing a few games here with Josh Boot. Of course, a lot still has to happen for King McGee to overcome that 10-point disadvantage, as we have been saying, but it's of course still possible. Anything's possible. It's never over until that checkered flag falls, and we just don't know what is going to happen. Currently, the fastest lap of the race in GT4 AM goes to Lee King McGee, so that would give him an extra 2 points back. So that would negate Josh Boot's 2-point advantage over for getting biggest mover and shaker in the class.
Have we seen Adam Watson and Michael Pedersen come together here? Because I saw them having a battle, and now they're both out, as far as I can see.
They had an incident up at Cunningham, didn't they? About 10-15 minutes ago. I wonder whether both of them have decided that that's the end of their day.
Well, they're only 4 laps down on the lead at the moment, about to be 5 between the two of them. That, you know, that's only a lap or so ago when they've retired, so maybe, but not entirely sure, to be honest. Just thought I'd rate it. Another couple of drivers out of the race from the 31 that started. We're still left with 28 as those two join Adam Hedgecock as retirees from the finale. As we go back to LMP3 again, the battle for 6th place overall, but there's a class leader involved in this one. Joost Burmeister stuck in the middle of this sandwich and probably not where he wants to be, really.
Yeah, and I think that is going to be an interesting one for Joost, of course, not racing for class position over those 2 cars, so I think maybe we'll play the sensible game at this point of the race. Matthias Bentilla, another driver who's been incredibly strong in that Pro Championship, but someone I would have expected maybe to be a little bit more in the championship fight here, Ewan, but not been as strong. But Menderes, the cameras are on him, he's locked the rears, and around he's gone at the hairpin. It looks as though he has got himself back going again, so minimal time loss, and Joost Burmeister all of a sudden only has to look behind, not as well as in front.
Callum Brandt goes through as well as those two were trailing him. Menderes getting that all wrong. Yeah, down into the hairpin. So those two are left out front. We did catch a brief glimpse, by the way, of Christophe Urbaneau and Remy Fortin, who were running nose to tail there, and they still are at the moment. I just wonder what kind of pressure Remy Fortin is putting on Christophe Urbaneau at the moment, and why the championship leader's progress has suddenly decided to not falter, but just begin to stall a little bit.
It is interesting because he was only about a 1/10.5 faster than Leo Bonneman the last time around. The 2 leaders were much faster. Nathan Moore, in fact, actually flying at the front of the field currently. Matt Caruana's, those two, the only 2 drivers so far who have been able to consistently run in the 53s. Christophe Urbaneau has also managed to get himself a 1:53.6, but Nathan Moore currently taking the 2 points for the championship, the fastest lap. I wonder whether Christophe Urbaneau, he's under pressure from Remy Fortin, not been able to make up too much time on his teammate Leo Bonneman, who I would expect are running identical setups. maybe, as you say, we're starting to see him stall. He got past Remy Fortin about 20 minutes ago. I expected him to be on the back of Leo Bonneman within about 10-15 minutes, and that hasn't happened.
Not really. Now, does Nathan Moore have that fastest lap back again? He certainly does. So all of a sudden, Christophe Herbenot requires a podium again, as Nathan Moore has begun to go faster. The first 53.3, and I guess as the track and conditions get darker, the track gets cooler. Not that it's got much cooling to do, to be fair. And the track gets faster as well. Yes, I do tell a lie. Actually, Julien Plumet has just gone over the line, set a new fastest lap as I was saying it. So, sorry, Nathan Moore, I've pretty much jinxed your own fastest lap there. So I apologise for that. Julien Plumet now holds it. What a bit of assistance for a teammate that is. Julien Plumet, teammates with Christophe Herbenot, and he's doing it in the most unorthodox fashion possible by taking the fastest lap off his nearest rival. What a bizarre set of circumstances.
This kind of reminds me of the end of the first Formula E season, Ewan, where it was Lucas de Grassi and Sebastian Buemi who were going for the title, and I was lucky enough to be at Battersea Park that day when that championship finale was happening, and the champion was decided on a fastest lap, and if it stays as it is at the moment, that is going to be the case. And as you say, Julien Plumet doing Christophe Herbenot's God's work at this point in getting that fastest lap. And you have to wonder, towards the end of the race, if it's looking as though Nathan Moore has taken it back and say we have 5 minutes to go, could we see a Max Verstappen style, let's come in with 2 laps to go out and get that fastest lap on that last lap of the race to just try and take those 2 points away?
Now, conditions for the fastest lap are pretty simple. You don't need to be in the top whatever like you do in most series. A rule pretty much introduced because of that race you were just talking about there. We don't have that, so it's just the fastest lap. And as you say, we could see that later on with Plumet, but let's wait and see. Let's go to LMP3 AM first of all, though, because the pit stop games have begun. Joost Boijmeister, the championship leader, has made his way in. His nearest rival, Mads Kjeldsen, has not had a good last couple of moments, I've got to say. With 2 points taken off him, all of a sudden Joost Boijmeister's equation is getting simpler to win this title.
This is a very crucial point of the race for the 48. The car behind you saw coming into the pits was the delayed Ben Gregory in the 113, who is running towards the rear of the LMP3 field overall, not having the final round of the championship that I'm sure he would have wanted. But Joost Boijmeister out of the pits, 25-second pit stop, Ewan, which I would say is pretty much a full tank to go to the end. He's pitted with 18 laps to go, which we know is enough that these cars can do that distance. So now it's just going to be a case of waiting for the others to come down onto the pit lane. 31 minutes to go. I think this is going to be the longest 31 minutes in Joost's season so far to see where he's going to be at the end of this one.
Yep. So still 31 and a bit minutes remaining and just over a third of this race. The reason why we're focusing in, just to reiterate, by the way, on that fastest lap talk from earlier on, is the fact that in the current situation, the current positions, if Nathan Moore gets the fastest lap, then he would be champion. At the moment, he's losing it on countback to Christophe Herbenot, who is 4th. Nathan Moore leading the race. And to be fair, with every passing lap, it does look more and more like Nathan Moore will be, if you'll excuse that turn of phrase, like Nathan Moore will be the race winner today, because in this middle stint he's started to pull out the advantage from Matt Caruana.
Yeah, I think just a little bit of free air, a bit like what we've seen with Adam Isaacson at points this season. It's allowed him to thrive and really get that 88 into a groove where he wants to be. And of course, as the sun's gone down, you really get into your own head and really focus. And Nathan Moore has done a fantastic job here with 30 minutes left, not just in this race, but in this season, to decide who will be the champion. Christophe Herbenot and Remy Fortin, while we're talking about the LMP3 Pro Championship, still going at it. They're still not more than a second apart. I think that's been a permanent red box on my timing screen for the last 15 minutes. So I think Christophe Herbenot's charge towards the podium, maybe not so much of a the possibility at this stage. With every second that ticks by, you have to think if something's going to happen. Timo Hayden has been released into second position by Impulse Racing. He is now leading the Impulse Racing charge over Thomas Marks Burgess. In fact, hold a gap over him, and as you can see on your screens, he's 5 seconds behind Adam Isaacson. Now, Ewan, that is interesting because Adam Isaacson took a 5-second shorter stop at the last round of pit stop, so that time gap is crucial. That if there isn't any issues on the in and out lap, that is where the race is going to be won or lost. GT4 AM on your screens. Lee King McGee, who has been the leader for most of the race, down onto the pit lane for his last stop of the season. Josh Boot has stayed out. He's still going to go. Lee King McGee is going for the short stint here, trying to get himself some clean air, Ewan, and he's going to go.
He's got to reverse in there a little bit, but he's in now and will take his final stop. I reckon he still had fuel in the tank there, by the way, because he did a longer stop than Boot that first time round, and he's in before Boot as well. So let's see how long this stop is now. Boot did a 33-second stop first time round. McGee did 36. That's 15 seconds shorter, but how much is that missing his box cost him?
I think the pit lane time will be what we have to focus on to see how much the overshoot is going to cost Lee King McGee. If he's got it good, it should only be about a second, so it's still all to play for in GT4 AM. I think, of course, traffic is going to play into this. Remy Fortin looking to get past Christophe Herbigno. This could be the move that changes the championship off of Cunningham Corner as they head out towards Tower. Not going to be enough, and Christophe Herbigno is still holding on. This is why he hasn't really caught the driver of Leo Bonneman, because he's having to defend every single lap from Remy Fortin. So Remy Fortin might become Nathan Moore's top Christmas list recipient come Christmas time if this keeps up.
Certainly, it's not helping in Herbigno's chase for a podium place. If he gets there, he'll be all but confirmed as the champion if he can get there. You do wonder as well if teammate play is going to just come into a factor as well. But let's wait and see on that front as we continue on. It's final corner for these two now with just over 27 minutes remaining. Somebody coming in right ahead of them, but they won't follow in. Wasn't one of the leaders in any of the GT4 classes, so the LMP3s continue on. Fly through turn number 1. And that will begin to wonder how far away we are from pit stops. It was 18, 19 laps for a maximum in that first time round. We're on lap 33 at the moment, so in theory they can go another 5 laps, but let's just see how deep they take this one into the race.
Yeah, I expect to see people coming into the pit lane with around 10 laps to go, so probably in the next 7-8 minutes we'll start to see LMP3 and GT4 pit stops en masse. We've seen Alessandro Puoti and Matt Loveridge both come down onto the pit lane now for their final stops, and in fact actually a very important moment is happening in the LMP3 AM category, Ewan, because Mac McFarquhar is down onto the pit lane. Obviously we saw that spin coming down into Le Mans a few moments ago. This could be crucial for the LMP3 AM title, and I do believe that Joost Burmeister may get past these two.
Well, let's see. Neither of them are out yet. Peter Herschel also in, but if McFarquhar is not going to be ahead of Burmeister, then Herschel certainly isn't. It's looking like it's going to be Joost Burmeister through, and he's through by quite some distance as well. His longer stop in this second part of the race has not even been that much longer, to be honest with you. He's gotten out with a huge lead. He's got Nicholas Kitts to worry about, as well as his main rival in the championship match, Kelton. But as long as everything goes to plan from here on in, Joost Burmeister may well be the champion of LMP3 AM this afternoon.
Looking at the gaps between Joost Burmeister, Mads Kielsen and Nicholas Skertz, it's sitting around 25 seconds from Burmeister up to the lead of the category, and that seems to be the average length of pit stop that we're seeing for all of these cars. So Joost Burmeister, the leader on the strategy of those in LMP3 AM that have taken their second pit stop, as Adam Isaacson down onto the pit lane for his final stop of the season, getting some fresh rubber onto the 78. Something tells me he may need that Timo Hayden is off into the lead of the race, and he has been on an incredible pace. His fastest lap of the race so far, Ewan, nearly half a second faster than that of Adam Isaacson.
And indeed anybody else in a GT4 car this afternoon, so very quick indeed, Timo Hayden. However, even if Hayden takes this fastest lap, takes second place, but Isaacson wins, Isaacson will still win the title on countback, that is, as long as they don't get any points for taken off for incidents, of course, but we'll wait and see on that front. Meanwhile, Callum Brandt is making his way down into the hairpin now, trying to pass Julien Plumet. That's going to be pretty difficult to achieve in this battle for 7th place in LMP3.
And that looks as though it's come down a little bit at this point, but Julien Plumet, Callum Brandt, two drivers who have been close throughout this race. Of course, Plumet delayed in the opening stages of the event with an incident on the first lap, and actually having that a second issue down at Tower Corner about 20 minutes ago. So I think he's going to be playing the team game here for the Boost and VDS team. You and I wonder whether he may be the sacrificial lamb in taking that fastest lap away from Nathan Moore. Speaking of fastest lap, Nathan Moore's had it back. He's on to a 1:52.982.
Oh.
So as it stands at the moment, he's got those 2 points back.
He does, but will Julien Plumet be sent out, or indeed somebody else sent out to try and beat that? Because they do need those 2 points off Nathan Moore. They don't need to get it onto Christophe Herbinot. He's got enough points to hang on to, but they do need to take it off Moore to make sure that he doesn't overtake Herbinot, because as things stand, he would be doing so by a couple of points. No danger of him getting any points taken off, for instance, by the way, Nathan Moore. It's a straight fight between these guys, and that's what it should be, really, for most of the championship battles. This is one of those circuits where you should be able to avoid even getting 8 incidents at this venue. So we go past another lap. Matthias Penteler is in this time round for his last stop of the season, but he's not one of the main players in this race for RD Simsport. There he is on his own, and there's his teammate Callum Brandt, just embroiled in a battle with Julien Plumet on one side, just ahead of him, and just behind him Mert Menderes.
Sorry, I was just doing some maths to work a couple of things out, but yeah, it definitely looks as though it's Menderes. There we go, he's looking at it, but Callum Brandt still keeping the pressure on to Julien Plumet, and as you say, Mert Menderes is close behind. So if these two start battling, this will become a 3-way battle for 6th position. Of course, the AM lead, actually, I would say this is one of the first rounds we've seen, you, and where the AM field is actually pretty separated from the pro field. We usually see the two mix a lot more than we have today in LMP3. As Joost Burmeister, speaking of LMP3, AMP has gone back to the lead of the race. So everyone has now completed their second pit stop. Joost Burmeister is out into the lead. Nicholas Scout seems to be the closest competitor, sitting at around 15 seconds behind. At the lead of the race, Matt Caruana is down onto the pit lane. He has done his 18-lap stint, and he is in 12 laps remaining.
There he is. Can he undercut Nathan Moore for one last race win? He would have the most of anybody in LMP3 Pro, by the way, if he was to take a win here. Did the most of anybody in LMP3 at all, other than Joost Burmeister, who at the moment looks like he's going to take his 4th as well. Stops in his box. Just behind him, Leo Bonneman and Christophe Herbinot make their stops. Important for the championship leader to get this right, as Caruana makes his way out of the pit lane after 18.7. What's the time for Bonneman? It might actually be Herbinot leaving first, actually, because he's so far back in the pit box after having started in the race from the very back. Herbinot does a shorter stop by 2.5 seconds or so, and he's right behind Leo Bonneman. So not sure whether that was a long stop for Bonneman or was it a short stop for Christophe Herbinot.
I'm not sure, but this could have very, very major championship ramifications if Christophe Herbinot is able to get past his teammate. Of course, the one thing that he's really struggled with getting up to the podium is being able to close the gap. So he's done it in the pit lane, maybe saved a little bit of fuel, and all of a sudden Leo Bonneman's got to be looking in his mirrors. This is your teammate going for the championship. You cannot fight him too hard. You cannot lose the time that could allow Remy Fortin to come back into this.
So it's the big moment in GT4 as well here. Adam Isaacson's already made his stop, but Timo Hayden's in right now from 2nd position. He's on his way out too. There's Isaacson in the Aston Martin. You can just see him on the right hand side. Here goes Timo Hayden. He's gonna take the lead back. A monumental chase from the German has got him the lead back, and possibly he's won him a title as well here at Sebring. 20 minutes for Adam Isaacson to close the gap and try and take the lead back again.
It's not a massive gap, 1.8 seconds now that Timo Heiden is up to speed, so it's enough to get Heiden into a championship winning position. But is it enough to give him the advantage he needs over Adam Isaacson for the rest of this race? Isaacson has been fast, but Heiden may be having a little bit more pure pace at the head of the field in LMP3 Pro. Nathan Moore is down onto the pit lane for his final stop of the season. Remy Fortin inherits the lead. He's going for a 19-lap stint in the middle portion of this race with 19 and 3/4 minutes to go. But GT4 Pro, GT4 AM, Josh Boot is back out. He has done his second pit stop. He's clear of Lee King McGee by 2.5 seconds almost. So Josh Boot in a commanding position currently as we compared to what we've seen in the last 40 minutes in that class. Joost Boermeister having a very, very strong advantage at the front of the field, nearly 15 seconds over Nicholas Geertz in LMP3 AM, and we're still waiting to see where people will come out. Now, I think a very important pit stop that could also have championship ramifications if Christophe Herbigno can't get past Leo Bonneman, Ewan, is Julian Plumet is now into the pit lane. Does he take a full set of tyres to give him the chance to get that fastest lap?
I think he will do. And Matt Caruana actually got quite close to it a couple of moments ago as well, actually, with a 53.1. They shouldn't get very close to it in the near future, but by the end of the race, we could see some fast times coming in. Meanwhile, the championships and the championship leaders are in the lead in both AM categories, by the way, so it's looking fairly settled in those two. However, we've still got stops to be made in LMP3 Pro, and still a battle to be had in GT4 Pro between Timo Heiden, who's currently going to be leading the race with Richard Simner's pit stop here, and Adam Isaacson, who's going to be right behind him. 1.5 seconds the margin between those two in GT4 Pro. Isaacson is going to have to close this margin quickly if he wants some chances to overtake.
I think he's got the hammer down here to try and close the gap a little bit. It's come down by a couple of tenths, but a tenth here, a tenth there over 18 minutes could be just enough. But of course, and some people may hate me for saying this, but catching is one thing, passing is another. Of course, a Murrayism made famous by the great late Murray Walker, who obviously loved his motorsport, I think more than most people that could argue in the UK. And it's such a valid point, Ewan, especially around Sebring. You have to get that pass right. We've seen a couple of passes today go wrong, and people have issues, and that has caused them to lose positions. Looking back towards the front of the field, Leo Bonneman and Christophe Herbigno. Now, there's a 5 on the side of Leo Bonneman's car, which tells me that they've been fighting this, Ewan, because he's currently up in 4th.
Well, he's through now, Christophe Herbigno, and where's Remy Fortin? He's not through on either of them. Fortin out behind both of them. Christophe Herbigno back into championship winning position, and he's got Leo Bonneman for cover as well. So as of right now, Christophe Herbigno is doing enough to win the title because he's won more races. Leo Bonneman is right behind and surely won't be battling at all with Herbigno. Herbigno has no fear. He doesn't defend into the hairpin, and the fact that he's got the teammate there as well is really going to help him. There's the contact. Remy Fortin gets straight into the back of Bonneman, and the gap only increases.
I knew something had just happened because I was looking at the incident points, and both of them jumped up the list, and Leo Bonneman now in a position where he will be receiving a points penalty. He has hit 8 incidents, but none of the championship contenders currently looking to be risking themselves a points penalty, which is where they will want to be heading into the final portion of this race. But Christophe Herbigno getting himself up into 3rd. I think maybe Leo Bonneman deciding to relinquish the podium, relinquish the position, release his teammate. Now he's not going to catch Matt Caruana. Matt Caruana is 15 seconds up the road, but Nathan Moore's championship hopes, I think, have just been completely trodden in the mud unless something happens to Christophe Herbigno here. Based on how it is currently with Christophe in 3rd, Nathan winning with the fastest lap.
Who's that?
That's Leo Bonneman. It's Leo Bonneman.
Oh, goodness me, my heart jumped there.
So did mine, because my timing screen didn't update and I had to go across 3 screens to go and see who it was who had gone off. So Leo Bonneman, I think gave everyone a heart attack there.
Dear, oh dear. That's that really scared me there for a moment. Leo Bollerman, the one who goes off the road in the end, in an identical looking car to Christophe Herbigno, but the championship leader and possibly champion in waiting of this series is running okay in third position, 16.7 seconds behind Matt Caruana, but that's not the concern. It's the gap behind him to Remy Fortin, 2.5 seconds, and if he can hang on to that, he will be the champion. In GT4 Pro, there are battles going on further down. This is between Alessandro Proti and Matt Loveridge, as Proti tries to hang on to 6th place in the championship. He should do that today with Pedersen so far down, but Loveridge trying to hold on to 3rd. That could be a bit of a task with Sasha Anglesey around. Anglesey's in 4th place at the moment and would be taking that position over almost no matter what happens at this point, and Thomas Marks Burgess as well, who could be. So Loveridge could go from 3rd to 5th if he's not careful in the championship, but there's not a lot that he can do, even by passing Alessandro Proti. I don't imagine that will save his situation very much.
And these two actually really the only people currently in GT4, the whole field, who are having a close battle. I'd probably say the next closest would be your leaders in the pro category, Timo Heiden and Adam Isaacson. So very much in the stage of the race at this point where the drivers are all spaced out, the traffic is more consistent for the LMP3s and the GT4s, where everyone will be in traffic on most laps of the remaining 14 minutes. But Matt Loveridge potentially looking for a move on the Alessandro Proti. Looked a little bit strong on the entry of Sunset Bend, and you can see the different line taken into that corner, and it's something actually I think as a driver, and I do, you know, my fair share of driving in sim racing, I love seeing all the different lines into Sunset Bend, Ewan, because I would argue there are no two people on the iRacing service who would take that corner the same way, because it's a corner that actually you can gain so much time by trying different things, and some people can gain that time in different ways.
No, absolutely, it's a very unique corner indeed. The bumps through there giving it the character and the sort of worldwide recognition that it does get, this venue. As you say, these are the only two in the entire field actually who are within a second of one another, so they're going to be providing the battling here for the last spot inside the top 5. Outside line for Matt Loveridge down here on the brakes at the hairpin. He's going to cut back, you would have thought, and have a go on the run through the lefts and the rights, through 8 and 9, through Fangio, heading towards turn 10 as they let the championship leader Christophe Herbigno go through into turn 10. I mean, we've got to first of all put some respect on the drive that he's done today, Christophe Herbigno. Don't forget that he came from the very back of the LMP3 field as an entirety, not just 11th in class, but about 17th in LMP3 overall. He's overtaken 14 cars to get into this situation, and while he stumbled, I would say, in the middle stint, and at multiple occasions today, he was not in championship winning position. He is in winning position when it matters with 12 minutes to go.
Yeah, I think Christophe Herbigno really, he's really shown his strength that he's had all season today, and getting himself into that position where he can win the championship. Of course, he's always been in the fight for it all race long, but that middle stint, as you say, not quite so strong. Potentially one where we thought it was going to come unstuck and go the way of Nathan Moore, but the fortunes have been flipped completely on their head, and it has gone back in the way of Christophe Herbigno. Of course, we're still just under 12 minutes remaining, a lot still to happen in this race. Speaking of a lot still to happen in this race, Timo Heiden and Adam Isaacson, they have closed up just a little bit, Ewan. They are verging on that magic second gap that Adam Isaacson needs to get the majority strong draft on these GT4 machines. So Adam Isaacson's really starting to push in the closing stages, as Matt Loveridge doing the same through turn number 1, looking for any way past Alessandro Proti that he can find.
He was really leaning on the right side of the car there and sliding as well as Proti goes wide into turn 5. Will this give Loveridge the chance as they go through turn 6? This is not going to be where the chance is, but instead down at 7. A defence from Alessandro Proti and a carbon copy almost of the lap before. Matt Loveridge this time though a bit further alongside, not far enough though to really action a move. If he doesn't get the exit here, we're pretty much back to where we were 1 lap ago.
Yeah, and I think this is a battle where I think both drivers are so equally matched. Something extraordinary is going to happen from Matt Loveridge to be able to make a move, a really brave late braking method, or a mistake from Alessandro Proti. And this is what we've seen all season long up and down the field. The pace is so close between the drivers that actually they have to work hard to make the passes, and it's something that I think these drivers really relish in this series. You can see just how close Matt Loveridge is to the back of Alessandro Perotti, giving it everything he's got in the 71 Mercedes. Currently not quite enough, but he is trying. You cannot take that away from him.
It certainly is. That's all you can do, really, to the end of the season now. We're just 10 minutes away from the end of the World Sports Car Championship for Season 2. What a season it's been. What a finale it's been. So much drama throughout the day. And still, it's close in the championship situations. The closest is GT4 Pro. Whoever beats the other out of Timo Hayden and Adam Isaacson, that gap is just 1 second to decide the title. Christoph Herbenau has a bit bigger of a gap now. Remy Fortin has dropped over 8 seconds to him now, and so it's really going to take a mistake for Herbenau to lose it. Joost Burnmeister is leading by quite some distance as well, as his nearest rivals have fallen by the wayside today, and it's only 1.5 seconds at the front of GT4 AM as well, by the way, although that has less championship implications riding on it, with Josh Boot leading the way by quite some distance in those standings. 9/10 of a second, the gap for the first time. Adam Isaacson's making some inroads. Does he have enough time left to pull this off?
If he's in draft range, yes, he does, because that is what he needs to do at this stage. Get himself into draft range of Timo Hayden, wait for the opportunity in traffic. It's a little bit harder in GT4, but we could see a reverse of what happened with Nathan Moore and Matt Caruana in the opening stages of this race. We could see Adam Isaacson use the traffic to his advantage, maybe get a little bit better of a draft, maybe play some games with Timo Hayden, put him under pressure. Hayden, we've seen him, he's been consistent all season long, but Adam Isaacson really is the one who's had the pressure on him all season long running at the front of the field. Hayden had not had as much experience running at the front, and he's got to make it count in the hardest part of this whole season, is bring it home to a title. That, on the bottom of your screen, is the difference between Timo Hayden and Adam Isaacson taking the GT4 Pro title, and that is going to go down to the final braking zone, the final run to the flag.
Certainly is. It's going to be a great fight for the lead. I'm just working out whether Timo Hayden, by the way, would get the forever forward points here, because that would change things. Even with a win here for Isaacson, he wouldn't be able to get the title if he's in the situation he is with the fastest lap. At the moment, Timo Hayden would be getting those couple of points. But the forever forward points may well be going to Hayden as well, which would give him a 5-point advantage before you've added the race points, and the gap between first and second wouldn't be enough in that case, but let's wait and see. I'll try and work that out, because that's a complicated equation to try and pull off. He may well be getting it though.
The only other driver that I can see who could potentially be in line for that in the pro category is Alessandro Perotti, but I'm going off overall positions. I can't see how many positions he's gained in class, so it could be that Perotti, there was an AM car that started ahead of him, he's only gained 4, in which case that Timo Hayden would be in line for those 2 extra points for the biggest mover in the race. So potentially here, as we head into the closing moments of the season, Timo Hayden in a little bit more comfortable position than we thought. That's Adam Isaacson.
And there it is. There's the moment. Throw away the points, throw away the equations, throw away the drama. Adam Isaacson has spun at the hairpin. The championship is done. It's settled. It's on its way to Germany. Timo Hayden's going to win it as a result of this spin for Adam Isaacson.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Isaacson's got a little bit of steering damage from that, and he got helped. That was the 31 Julien Plumet who helped him round. And as he gets going again, a little bit of contact with the wall. I don't think it has damaged the steering on the 78, but just the whole, I think that is Adam Isaacson's season summed up in one corner, Ewan, where he has been incredibly fast, but sometimes the luck just hasn't gone his way. Timo Hayden must be having the biggest sigh of relief currently in that 96, knowing he's just got to bring it home.
He may have been okay anyway, as we were just saying. Even in second place, I think Timo Hayden would do enough to get the forever forward points, which would give him the title. However, it doesn't matter now. He can just bring it home, safe in the knowledge that he's not even going to be challenged for his race win. already a winner on 2 occasions this season. This would give him the most wins out of anybody all season long, and a deserved title to go with it as well. What a finale we've seen though in GT4 Pro. With just 6 minutes of a long season remaining, it's finally settled. We've had 12 hours of racing this season, by the way. 6 minutes is the amount of time we've been sure who's winning the GT4 Pro Championship. A remarkable season.
Well, you say that. That's based off nothing happened to Timo Heinen in the final 6 minutes. Something still could happen. So it's not quite over and done yet for the 96, but he's in a much safer position. I think the pressure will be off. He'll be trying to just bring it home at this point. 10 seconds over his teammate, who also has Adam Isaacson not too far behind, but I'm not sure whether Isaacson will be close enough to challenge at the end of this race. Back to this very close battle on track between Alessandro Perotti and Matt Loveridge in the GT4 Pro category, and Matt still hasn't been able to get his way past as Perotti goes defensive into the hairpin one more time.
Yeah, we'll let that battle continue to play. Well, just want to ask you your thoughts again on the incident for Isaacson there, because it was a subjective one for me. On the way down towards turn 7, it very much looked like Isaacson didn't want to be passed down the inside, but Plumet was on his way down the inside and, you know, entitled to do so as well within reason. So it's a difficult one to call there, whether the LMP3 was the one getting involved in the fight that it shouldn't have done, spinning around Isaacson, or whether Isaacson was sort of over ambitious in trying to keep Julien Plumet behind him.
I think it's a very subjective incident where multiple different camera angles actually paint a very different story, and I've just gone back and had a look at it, and I would say that Isaacson did not have the LMP3 alongside him at the turn-in point. The point where the contact was the extreme rear right of Adam Isaacson to the extreme front left of Julien Plumet. So that would, I think, go on Julien Plumet's shoulders. It was an incredibly late move from the LMP3. I think at a point in the race where he wasn't in a situation where he needed to use that much risk. I don't think Adam Isaacson had anything to do with that incident. It was unlucky for him. Wrong place, wrong time.
It's an interesting one. I'm sure there'll be a couple of arguments about that afterwards, I've got to say. But let's wait and see on that front as we enjoy the final few minutes of our season. Looks like all 4 titles settled now with the big gaps around, but this is the last battle we've got to enjoy. Matt Loveridge down the inside of Alessandro Perotti into turn 1. It's going to be 3, nearly 4 wide as some of the LMP3s get by. They all want to squeeze through. There's side-to-side contact, and they're going to remain door-to-door through turns 3, 4 and 5. It'll be inside line for Loveridge here. Does he make use of that to close the door and exit? Perotti, yes he does. And finally, Loveridge gets himself through for now.
That's a move that's been coming for about 10 minutes now as Matt Loveridge. He's been probably looking at where Alessandro Perotti isn't quite as strong as him. He's noticed that turn 1 is that place, but Perotti down the inside on the brakes. Not quite enough overlap. I thought he was going to push Loveridge around there. I think there was a push. But Loveridge has obviously been having lessons from Pato O'Ward on how to save a car and keeps that thing going.
Amazing racing between the two of them. A real treat to end the season. Perotti versus Loveridge again. Round whatever it is. Turn 10. Outside line for Perotti. Can't do it. Loveridge slams the door shut this time. Bit more firm, actually, from Matt Loveridge as he tries to hang on to one final top 5 here this season. He's been there on 5 occasions so far. He would love to be there for a 6th out of the 8 races we've had in Season 2 of the World Sportscar Championship. And at the moment, he may just have the margin to do so.
I think that may be the case, but it's going to be a very close run thing to the end of this race. They have one more lap after this to decide this lovely battle, as you say, a lovely treat that we are being given right at the end of what has been a fantastic season, and every single driver on the grid should pat themselves on the back for what has been a brilliant season of racing. Leo Bonneman and Remy Fortin having one final go at it as they have around a lap and a half left of their championship. And I think Leo Bonneman will want to try and get himself up into P4 here so he can finish P3, P4 with his teammate Christophe Herbenieu.
Big up on the 2 wheels there for Leo Bonneman. For Remy Fortin. Leo Bonneman is the car just in behind. trying to retake that fourth place again after a spin at that very corner out through Le Mans and onto the Ullman Straight. 30 seconds remaining, by the way, and Nathan Moore has already started his final lap as we go into Sunset Bend for the penultimate time with these two. Bottom man down the inside on quite a narrow line actually, and he slides and he can't make the corner. Asked a little bit too much of his car, and Remy Fortin will hang on to the place.
But Leo Bonneman did an incredible job to catch that and not drive it into the side of Remy Fortin. I thought we were about to see quite a large incident coming onto the final lap. You're looking at Nathan Moore, your current race leader. He has done everything he can today to get that championship. He is leading the race with half a lap to go. He has he no longer has the fastest lap. That has gone the way of Matt Caruana. So he has tried everything he can to get that, but he has not been successful. The two GT40 is just overtaken. That is Adam Isaacson and Thomas Marks Burgess. And Isaacson, Ewan, has been on an absolute charge in these closing laps just to try and get back to second position, at least get back to where he was before that incredibly unfortunate incident down at the hairpin. But Nathan Moore from WSR Esports, what a day it could have been, but he has been beaten, by the looks of it, by Christophe Herbignaud.
He's the only race winner tonight who's not going to be the champion at the end. Looking at the results sheet, you might think this hasn't been a very good championship finale. Couldn't be further from the truth. What an enthralling final 90 minutes in the World Sports Car Championship we've had here tonight. But Nathan Moore is going to take one last laugh. His first win of the season. It's not going to be a title, but it will be a Sebring success for Nathan Moore as he takes the final race of the World Sports Car Championship by just 3 seconds over a hard-charging Matt Caruana at the end. In LMP3 AM, Joost Boomeister is going to take the win in quite a few seconds' time, and he's going to retain his championship lead as a result. Same goes for Timo Hayden, who's already across the line after an enthralling final battle with Adam Isaacson. And further back, the battle in GT4 AM for the race win. Oh, Josh Boots is going to be the champion, having spun out the final corner. And he's nearly got whacked by an LMP3 as well. Lee King McGee realises the situation. He lets Josh Boot back through again. And so the championship winner is going to be the race winner in a remarkable ending to GT4 AM.
Lee King McGee, I think, just got a little bit too greedy on the exit of the corner at Sunset, but props to King McGee for giving that position back. Congratulations to all of the champions. Actually, as I say that, Joost Boomeister still hasn't crossed the line yet in the 48. We're still waiting for the LMP3 AM leader to bring it home.
I think he's slowing down a bit on this lap, actually. I wonder if he's got enough fuel left to do this extra lap. I say it's an extra lap. He's just stayed on the lead lap more than anything else. Nicholas Skitz has closed into just 3.4 seconds behind. But Boomeister comes over the line. 3 out of 4 race winners today, with the championship leaders coming into today. And as I say, you might think that means it's not been a very interesting finale, but it certainly has been. Christophe Herbignaud having to work his way through the field to get to championship winning position in 3rd place. Joost Boomeister using his strategy to get his 4th win of the season, which is a record across the LMP3 classes. Timo Hayden having to hold off a charge from Adam Isaacson, and Josh Boot winning in GT4 AM as well. Let's check out the LMP3 Pro results first, though, with the 1.3 second margin at the end. Nathan Moore was being closed by Matt Caruana, but it's Christophe Herbignaud who takes the full title. Remy Fortin held off Leo Bonneman at the end there, with Matthias Penteler finishing in 6th place, ahead of his teammate Callum Brandt. Mert Menderes, Julien Plumet, Nikolai Loft round out the top 10. And the final driver was Ben Gregory in the LMP3 Pro standings, all of whom got to the end. Joost Boomeister wins in AM, 3.4 seconds ahead of Nicholas Skitz, with Mac McFark, the final driver on the lead lap. Max Kelsen was in championship winning position at a brief stage early on in the race, but ends up 4th. Peter Herschel finishes 5th. Adam Hedgecock, the only LMP3 not to finish. In GT4 Pro, Timo Hayden survives a late scare to win by a deceptive 8.5 seconds. Thomas Marks Burgess completes the 1-2 for Impulse Racing, with Adam Isaacson 3rd, Sasha Engelsey in 4th. Matt Loveridge held off Alessandro Proti to the line, with Richard Simner catching them both quickly at the end. Francois Pedro finishes 8th ahead of Adam Watson and Michael Pedersen, who crashed together at Sunset Bend. Finally, in GT4 AM, it was Josh Boot to take the win after a last corner incident with Lee King McGee. Evan Atafas and Jack Wilkins finish where they started. So that is it for the second season in the World Sports Car Championship. What a thoroughly enjoyable final race we have had. Let's bring in the overall winner, Nathan Moore, for a chat first of all. Welcome in, Nathan. Good to have you alongside us again for your first win of the season, but not quite the title. Tell us your feelings. That must be mixed after this race.
Yeah, well, I mean, coming into this race, I knew that the title was a bit of a long shot. 8 points is really hard to overhaul. So I was just coming into this race, no pressure, just try and enjoy it. And yeah, finally, after all of this season, I finally somehow got the win. But Matt put me under immense pressure towards the end. It was interesting with the differing strategies. So, the middle stint, I was able to gap him. And then, yeah, my tyres were struggling towards the end, and he was just, a couple more laps, he would have had me, I think. So, luckily for me.
I mean, what was the early stages of the race like with Matt Caruana so close to you and so on? I mean, was there stages in the race where you thought you weren't going to be able to win?
A little bit. I mean, it's, the first stint is, 90-minute races are always, very long. The first stint, I think Matt had the pace on me by maybe about a tenth or so. He had the edge on me, but he did a cracking move around the outside of GT4s on me, and I just had to slot in. Was just being patient, biding my time, and then the middle stint is where I thought to myself, right, okay, we have a chance here to get the win. But yeah, Matt is just so fast. It's so difficult to keep him behind.
Well, congratulations for doing so. Congratulations for winning. Thanks for chatting to us here on RaceSpotTV, and thank you for the entertainment you've provided us over the course of the season. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And just a word on Christoph. Congrats to him on the title. Thoroughly deserved all season. Myself, Matt, and Christoph were all very, very close all season. So yeah, congrats to him, and thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Nathan Moore, the race winner tonight here at Sebring in the World Sports Car Championship in LMP3 AM. Jos Boomeister wins the race and the title to go with it. Welcome in, Jos. Good to have you with us. The typical strategy for yourself of pitting short early on and then holding out for the remainder of the race has got you your fourth win of the season now. How are you feeling after that one?
Man, this was hard. I totally did not expect this because Matt was faster than me like throughout the season, and eventually the thing that made me win, I think, mostly was the traffic management. That's why I pitted slightly short, and the timing on the other cars, like the GT4s, they came out of the pit lane the last time round, and they came out right behind me, so I didn't lose any time from that one. So yeah, this is really good.
Yeah, certainly, and it's all part of the strategy, of course. I mean, what were your feelings going into today with such a small margin over Mads, and him actually taking the 1 point for pole position as well immediately made it closer before he'd even started the race?
Yeah, I actually assumed that he would gonna go and take fastest lap and pole. That would put him equal to me on points. So that actually made my mindset to just that I need to beat him on track in order to get the title. So yeah, and this time I actually was faster than him. I really didn't expect that.
Well, congratulations on taking your fourth win of the season, 50% win rate, very impressive indeed. And thanks for coming to chat to us throughout the season as well.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks very much. Jos Boomeister there, the LMP3 AM winner in Season 2 of the World Sports Car Championship, and hopefully we've improved on pronouncing his name as well, because I know that was not a good start to the season for us in that respect. Let's go down to GT4 Pro, where Timo Hayden is the champion and the race winner as well. Congratulations, Timo, on that. How were those final few moments, and as Adam Isaacson was bearing down on you, and it looked like there was going to be a battle for the lead in the final minutes?
Thank you very much. I don't know what to say. Winning the championship means a lot for me personally after the whole season with all the other championships. finishing that short in front of Adam at the end is unbelievable. I don't know what happened to Adam yet. I still need to watch. But anyway, congrats to him as well. Would have been really, really tough at the end. I know he was in the draft. I underfueled to be in front. That was my last chance. And then my fuel calculation tell me all the time, hey, you are one lap too short. But I know, okay, that there must be a reason the race has to go 41 laps for us and not 42. At the moment Adam dropped, I just stopped driving more or less because I just wanted to finish the race probably. I just hoped, okay, please be good on fuel, and that's it. And I'm just happy. And now I saw that we also won the team championship by rating. It's unbelievable.
It was certainly an exciting finale for us to watch. I mean, in terms of the season as a whole, it's been so close between the front five, I would say, with all of you taking at least one race win along the way. Coming into today, just 21 points between the five of you as well. I mean, what's the battle been like for you as one of those five?
It was really intense, and I think it's really nice to see that there are so many guys so close. I don't know, like 10, 12 points or 15 points spread for the last race. For us in the team, it was also sometimes a bit difficult. Who is in the front, who has chances, who can we support? So at this point also a big thanks to Thomas and Sasha for helping me in the last races. For example, last race in Fuji as well. To get at this point, to stay in front in the championship for the last race in front of Adam. But yeah, again, as we are three guys from one team, it's a really, really good championship from Adam. And I think I understand that he's maybe a little bit disappointed or big disappointed about the result now.
Yeah, understandable, of course, but congratulations for coming out the other side of this race, still as the championship leader and, of course, now the champion. So congratulations on that, Timo, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much. Timo Hayden there, the GT4 Pro champion here this season. We may get the AM winner Josh Boot in, by the way, but trying to work out whether that is Josh Boot in our team speak or not, to be honest with you. So we'll figure that out in a moment. In the meantime, though, going to speak to Andy Shield, who's behind the admin side of things here for the World Sportscar Championship. Andy, welcome in. Good to. I presume you were waiting there to come and have a chat with us.
I thought I'd come and say hello.
Okay, good. I'm glad we haven't just pulled you away from conversation. How has the season been from your side of things?
I think the fact that the championship really, came down to the wire just showed that we got the mix right with the driver classes and how we set up the points. I know it was a bit of a confusing time for you guys, certainly this evening, trying to work out who was where with the way the point deductions work, for instance, and the fastest laps and some other bits that we chuck in. But what it does is it creates a lot of ebb and flow for the drivers where they can make up points in other areas if they have a good race. So I think the finale was a really fun one to watch, and got some deserved champions this evening.
Absolutely, thoroughly enjoyed the finale, and I know it makes difficult maths for us, but it is good that, to be honest, these guys get reined in, if you like, for incident points. So fair enough, and that was certainly a factor over the course of the day. As a season as a whole, comparing this one to the first season, of course, which was different in a few ways, although some things remain the same. Some of the circuits, like this one, for example, but we've gone from 6 to 8 rounds as an example. A couple of other rule changes as well. Felt like the strategy was a little bit more open, with a bit more of a fuel allowance this time round as well. What are the changes you've been sort of pleased to see, if you like, through season 2 compared to the debut season?
I think that we didn't really make any core changes to the overall format of the championship, other than just extending it out. I think I wanted to see we wanted to see how a second season would look under our belt with a slightly extended championship. with a slight tweak of the points to give the pros and the AMs an opportunity to contribute towards the championship for the team aspect. So I think in that side of things, that slight change definitely kept people more engaged for longer, because even if you were an AM driver, you still have a valuable part to play as part of the championship. So it is a little bit different to what perhaps some other championships do, but we wanted to try and make it as inclusive as possible while still retaining the competitive nature of the championship. So I think that as a takeaway is a real positive. Of course, we'll go have a look now that the season's finished and make some subtle tweaks to perhaps simplify some of the processes and some of the points, so that then if you guys calling the shots, it makes it a little bit easier to get up to speed of where we are, certainly during the last round of the race.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on a successful season. It's been thoroughly enjoyable for us to be sat here covering it, Andy, and thanks for coming to chat to us as well.
Great stuff. Thanks, guys. You've done a great job this season, and obviously big shout out to Butt Kicker for sponsoring the series, the drivers, the stewards, and obviously everyone supporting the series back home. All
right, thanks very much. Andy Seal there, the series coordinator, as the thing was put on there, for the World Sports Car Championship here this season. That is just about it from us here on RaceSpotTV for the season. However, we do have the final standings to show you at the end. Just 2 points separate Christoph Herbeno and Nathan Moore, with Matt Caruana finishing up in third. Adam State's lack of appearance in this final round does not matter in the end. Julien Plumet couldn't catch him, and neither could Leo Bonneman. Nikolai Lofton, Mert Menderes still couldn't be separated for 7th, with Callum Brandt and Matthias Penteler rounding out the top 10. In AM, Jus Burmeister hangs on to what's going to look like a large 14 points in the end there, with Mads Kjelsen 2nd and Petter Herschel in 3rd, Matt Farquhar in 4th. Nicholas Skitz very much on his own in 5th place ahead of Adam Locke, and then Adam Hedgecock, who didn't finish tonight. Neither of the three at the bottom change as a result of the fact they haven't been here today. GT4 Pro ends with Timo Hayden winning the season, and again a bigger margin looking like there than what it maybe felt like at the time. Adam Isaacson 10 points back, with Sasha Anglesey beating Thomas Marks Burgess by 1 point, who finishes only 1 point ahead of Matt Loveridge. Alessandro Proti hangs on to 6th place in the standings ahead of Michael Pedersen, Richard Simner. Manuel Gaxello and Jeremy Rollo were not here today. And in GT4 AM, Josh Boot wins the title by exactly the same margin he came into today with Evan Tafas and Jack Wilkins tied for 3rd. Jack Osborne finishes in 5th, and although further behind, did not attend today either. That is it pretty much here, Jack, for this one. A thoroughly enjoyable season ended out with a fitting championship finale.
It really was, and that was the championship finale I think we were both hoping for. I hope everyone watching was hoping for, and all the drivers and the teams were hoping for. And what a fantastic season it's been. Congratulations to all the champions. And it's a long season. It's you know, these drivers they'll be ready for a break, they'll be ready for something different. But what a season it's been, and it's been so fun to call it.
It certainly has. The 4 championship leaders coming into today retain their margins, but that doesn't tell the whole story. Great battles, exciting strategy to work out, and an enticing race as well. The final 90 minutes here at Sebring certainly did not disappoint. This has been RaceSpotTV's coverage of the World Sports Car Championship for the 2nd season. I've been Ewan Leary alongside Jack Stiles, and Hugo Louise has been behind the cameras. Until we see you again for season 3 of this championship, it's goodbye for now.